Hi, this is Marc Morrell with ToonBarn, and I'm here at RetroCon 2013 in Greater Philadelphia Expo Center. And I'm here with Neil Ross, who is wow, you're just amazing as a voice actor. You've been in radio, you've done narration, you've done like all the award shows and things like that.
Well, as many as I could crowbar my way into.
Yeah, but I mean, over like 1,500 episodes in all of these different cartoons from the 70s, 80s, 90s.
I think it may be closer to 2,000 at this point, but I've lost count. But yeah, I had a wonderful run. It was very exciting.
So, of course, one of our favorites is Voltron, and you did the voice of Keith and Pidge.
That's right, I did.
Yes, he did.
So we also know that when you did the voice of Pidge, that it was a very short period of time that they told you, oh, by the way, we want you to do this character as well. And you didn't know at the time that Pidge was one of the main characters, right?
I didn't have a clue. Voltron was probably the first, not probably, it definitely was the first big show that I got into and actually had the lead role. I hadn't been in the business very long, and I showed up thinking I was going to play Keith, and I knew what that was all about. And they suddenly whipped this drawing out and said, oh, by the way, we want you to do this guy. What have you got? And I was fumbling around and
Suddenly got into this thing.
and the guy said, yeah, that's perfect. That's it. That's fine. And I thought, okay, good. This will be a 5-line part, never to be heard from again. And then, of course, I find out it's one of the principal characters, and I'm stuck with this voice that apparently everybody thinks they can do better than me, which I always found amusing, because aren't I the standard?
I'm not even going to try, okay?
But they used to tell me at the production company, everybody in the office was doing Pidge around the office, and they were all convinced they did it better than I. So,
well, if you were given the chance now to redo Pidge in a voice that would be something that you knew was for a main character that you would be doing a lot of lines for, how would you do it now?
I don't know that I would change it. Over the years, I came to sort of like it. So, no, I don't think I would mess with it at this point. Why mess with success? You know?
Okay. Oh, that sounds great. You've also, of course, been in things like G.I. Joe, Transformers, and of all these different types of cartoons that were like in the action genre back then in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, which is your favorite?
I guess probably G.I. Joe, because I got a chance to be Shipwreck, and that's probably one of the characters that people reference most often. Either Transformers or G.I. Joe. For selfish reasons, they're the shows people seem to remember. They're the reason conventions happen. They're the reason I get invited to come to conventions. A lot of the other shows, we went in, worked just as hard, but for some reason, people have forgotten about them. But those two shows, plus Voltron to a certain degree, are shows that people remember and still reference. Although it's the strangest thing. I mean, somebody came up today and was quoting lines from stuff I did in a movie called Gremlins 2 that I barely remember doing. So you have these little time bombs that go off 25 and 30 years later, and you don't even realize at the time. It's incomprehensible that anyone will care in 30 years, but they do.
Do you remember back in Back to the Future 2 when you did the narration for Biff Tannen's museum?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, I remember that, although it's funny. I can't remember if I auditioned for that or if they just gave it to me. I honestly don't remember, but I do remember going into Universal Studios, and it's a dubbing stage underneath the Alfred Hitchcock Theater, and I remember going down there. I remember doing the job. It only took half an hour, but now people come up to me and say, "You're part of the trilogy," you know, and it's so astonishing that you can just do a half hour's work and you sort of become a little piece of history. It's amazing.
Voltron is going to be having its 30th anniversary next year, and what types of things do you think they might do in honor of that 30th anniversary?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe build a real spaceship and go somewhere. I don't have any idea. I haven't heard any rumors about anything. I don't know if you have.
No, I haven't.
No,
Well, we do know coming up at New York Comic Con, they're going to be doing a panel with the 30th anniversary preview.
Well, we'll look forward to that. It'll be interesting to see what they come up with.
Now, have they ever asked you to do video games?
I actually did do a Voltron video game. I think it's something you access online, and that was about a year and a half ago. And
is that with THQ?
Yes, yeah. But that's the only one I've done with Voltron.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other of the Transformers or G.I. Joe or anything like that with the video games? Anything like that?
Haven't done any of the video games on those shows. No.
All right. Now, so you started out, and one of the things that I like about RetroCon is I can talk about your whole body of work, okay? We're not just talking about something that's being promoted right now. So I can start from your radio days. How did you make the transition from radio to voice acting?
Well, I had always sort of fooled around with character voices and accents, starting in grade school, really. And then in high school, I discovered voices and accents really help punch up a dirty joke in the lunchroom. And then I got into the radio business as a disc jockey, and I would use that facility to... not a great extent, once in a while in a commercial or a promo, but it was kind of going to waste, and I had no idea that the voiceover business even existed. It was sort of a well-kept secret back in those days, but I finally heard about it in the early 70s, and about 10 years later, I was able to break in the early 80s. It just involved going to Los Angeles, going to workshops, getting an agent, auditioning, the same way everybody gets in, and it was a remarkable stroke of luck. I just sort of wound up in the right place at the right time in the mid '80s, and it was a wonderful ride.
When was it that you first established your own home studio?
That happened about 15 years ago. We used to go into the agency to audition. They had recording facilities, and it got so crowded that we were literally sitting in the lobby for hours waiting to go in and read a commercial. And I started to complain to my agent, and he said, "You should set up a home studio." And he really got me up off my lazy duff, and I did it, and I'm very glad I did. And I'm able to do audition and work from the house now.
Did certain people give you advice about what types of equipment you should use and things like that?
Oh yeah, no, I had to hire an engineering type, and I still have to hire them. I'm no good at that stuff. Everybody has to babysit me and show me what to do, and eventually I figure it out. But oh yeah, no, I needed help.
So, if you were to be able to keep working as long as you can here, like June Foray or something like that, would you keep doing it?
Yes, I think I would. It's kind of addictive.
Yeah.
The only part I don't like is the driving. But if there's a really fun job with fun people involved at the other end of the drive, then I'll do it.
Okay, so of all the casts that you've worked with in all these different cartoons and TV shows and stuff, what was the favorite fun cast that you worked with?
I think the most fun was probably G.I. Joe and Transformers. They were a lot of the same people were in those shows, and they all happened at the same studio. And it was this wonderful mix of television actors, movie actors, stage actors, stand-up comedians, ex-writers, you name it, singers, we had it. And some of the discussions in the repartee that happened in the green room, it was like being at a great party. It's just no booze was served, and every now and then Wally Burr would interrupt and ask us to work, which we bitterly resented, but...
He did that all the time.
He had a job to do, and... So we forgave him, but those are the shows I remember most fondly.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us on ToonBarn.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you, RetroCon. Thanks.